So, I need to get this off my chest because I'm literally still shaking with anger, and I can't even think straight. I've been with Olivia for 3 years now. We met in this totally random way. My car broke down during a thunderstorm on a road trip to see my cousin, and she was the mechanic on call that night. She showed up in this beaten-up tow truck, fixed my car in the pouring rain, and we ended up talking for hours at this 24-hour diner afterward. I thought that was special, you know, like who gets a love story that starts like that? Fast forward to last week. She tells me she's going on this girls' trip to Miami with her friends. I was like, cool, have fun. But then I noticed she was being weird about the details. When I asked which friends, she got all defensive and was like, why are you so insecure? Don't you trust me? She kept saying I needed to stop being so controlling and just let her have fun with the girls. I backed off because I didn't want to be that guy. You know, but something felt off. The night before she left, she was being super secretive with her phone. I'm not the type to snoop, but she literally jumped when I walked into the room and flipped her phone over. That's when I knew something was up. After she left, I was checking our shared credit card account. We have a joint card for household stuff and emergencies and saw these massive charges from Miami nightclubs. I'm talking thousands of dollars on VIP table service at some club called LIV. We're not rich. That was almost our entire credit limit. I was like, WTF is going on? So, I checked Instagram and that's when my whole world imploded. Her girls' trip included her ex's sister Megan, the same ex she swore she was completely over and had no contact with. There were stories of her twerking on random guys, taking shots with some rappers' crew, and the worst one, her making out with some dude she tagged as Yacht Daddy with captions like living my best life and single girl energy and what boyfriend. The absolute worst part, her friend Kayla tagged me in a story of Olivia grinding on some guy with the caption, while you're home crying at Russell. I was in shock, but I wasn't crying. I was furious. Then I saw the live stream. Kayla went live at like 4:00 a.m. showing them all stumbling back to their hotel, and I clearly saw Olivia following some guy into his hotel room. She was hanging all over him, giggling, and the door closed behind them. Kayla slurred into the camera. Looks like someone's getting lucky tonight. Before ending the stream, I didn't text or call Olivia. Not once. Instead, I logged into our travel account and cancelled her return flight. Then, I called a locksmith and had all the locks changed on our apartment. I boxed up all her crap, her clothes, makeup, everything she left behind, and drove it straight to the nearest Goodwill. I dumped her expensive face creams down the drain. I took the frame pictures of us and threw them in the dumpster. For days later, when she was supposed to fly home, my phone exploded. 84 messages in a row from her. Babe, please. My flight is cancelled. I can't get home. My card is declined. I have no money. I'm sleeping on the airport floor. It wasn't what it looked like. I promise. Please, Russell, answer me. Her mom called me 28 times in a row. Left voicemail screaming that I was abusive for leaving her daughter stranded. My phone kept buzzing with calls from unknown numbers. Probably her friends or her using someone else's phone. I blocked her mom's number. I blocked Olivia. I blocked all her friends. I even temporarily deactivated my Instagram so they couldn't tag me in their __ anymore. But this morning, I got an email from her. She's still in Miami, apparently staying at Megan's cousin's place now. She's threatening to call the police for me stealing her property by donating her stuff. She says she's coming home somehow and that I better let her in or else. Or else what? She destroyed us. She humiliated me online for all our friends to see. She maxed out our credit card, living her best life with other guys. Oh, and just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I was clearing out my photo album and found something I didn't notice before. In the background of one of Kayla's posts from the first night, there was Olivia's ex, the same one whose sister was on this trip. He was there the whole time. This wasn't just a random hookup situation. This was planned for months. Probably. I don't know what to do next. Part of me wants to respond to her email just to tell her exactly what I think of her, but another part of me thinks silence is the best revenge. Should I be worried about her police threat? I mean, they were her things, But we lived together for 2 years and she's the one who cheated. What would you guys do in my situation? Because right now, I'm running on pure anger and I don't trust myself to make the best decisions. Update 1. Thanks for all the advice and support on my last post. I needed it because this situation has gone completely off the rails. So, when I left off, Olivia was stranded in Miami after I cancelled her return flight, changed the locks, and donated her stuff to Goodwill after seeing her cheat on me during her girls' trip. She'd been blowing up my phone, and her mom was calling me non-stop. The morning after I posted, I finally turned my phone back on, and there were literally 137 new texts from Olivia. The tone had completely shifted from panic to rage. She was saying stuff like I was literally insane and that I had no right to touch her things and that she was going to make me pay for what I'd done. Whatever. I deleted them all without responding. Then my own mom called. Apparently Olivia's mom had somehow found my mom's number, probably from that time we all had dinner together last Christmas, and had been harassing her for hours, telling her I was abusive and had stolen thousands of dollars worth of Olivia's designer clothes and makeup. My mom was like, "WTF is going on?" And I had to explain the whole situation to her. My mom is usually pretty chill, but she was livid when I showed her the Instagram posts of Olivia with other guys. She basically told me I should talk to a lawyer about the credit card debt since Olivia ran up almost $7,000 in charges at clubs in Miami. $7,000 on a card with a $9,000 limit that we're both responsible for. I called the credit card company and explained the situation. They said since Olivia is an authorized user on the account, there wasn't much they could do, but they flagged the account for potential fraud investigation. I also filed a dispute for the largest charges, but I'm not holding my breath. 2 days after my first post, I'm at work and I get a call from my neighbor Tyler. He says there's a woman screaming and pounding on my apartment door. Yep. Somehow Olivia made it back to town. Tyler said she was crying and yelling for me to stop being childish and just open the damn door. I thanked him and asked if he could just ignore it. An hour later, my boss tells me there's someone asking for me in the lobby. I go down and it's Olivia's dad, looking like he's about to explode. He starts yelling at me right there in front of everyone, saying I stole his daughter's property and that I'm going to jail for this. I kept my cool and told him that maybe he should ask his daughter about the guy she was with in Miami instead of threatening me. He tried to follow me back to the elevator, but security stopped him. My co-workers were all staring and whispering. So embarrassing, but honestly, I didn't care at that point. After work, I drove home, but parked a block away because I had a feeling they might be waiting for me. Good call. Olivia's car was parked right in front of my building, and I could see her and her parents standing by the entrance. I went to my buddy Dave's place instead and crashed on his couch for the night. The next morning, I went back to my apartment super early, like 5:30 a.m., figuring they wouldn't be there. Wrong again. Olivia was literally sleeping in her car outside my building. When she saw me, she jumped out and ran over, blocking my path to the door. She looked terrible, all puffy-eyed, and still wearing clothes from Miami. She started with the waterworks, saying it was all a misunderstanding and that nothing happened with those guys. It was just for social media. I laughed in her face. I asked her who the guy was. She followed into the hotel room at 4 a.m. She claimed she was just walking him to his door, and nothing happened. I told her she could save her lies for someone who cared and tried to walk past her. She grabbed my arm hard and tried to stop me, digging her nails in. I pulled away and told her if she touched me again, I'd call the cops for assault. She started screaming that I was the criminal for stealing her stuff. I finally got inside my building and she kept banging on the glass door. I told the building manager what was happening and he called security. They made her leave, but not before she screamed that this wasn't over and I would regret this. Later that day, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was Megan, her ex's sister, saying I needed to make this right with Olivia. I replied asking why she was on the trip with Olivia's ex when Olivia told me it was a girls' trip. She read it but never responded. Shocker. That night, my parents came over. My dad thought I should just give Olivia whatever money the donated clothes were worth to make this go away. My mom disagreed and said Olivia deserved what she got. They ended up arguing about it right there in my living room. Great. While they were still there, Olivia showed up again. This time with her best friend, Kayla, the one who tagged me in that Instagram post. I didn't answer the door, but they started yelling through it. My dad, thinking he was helping, opened the door to talk it out. Big mistake. Olivia pushed past him into my apartment, screaming about her clothes and makeup and how I had no right. Kayla was filming the whole thing on her phone, probably hoping I'd do something they could post online. My mom got between us and told Olivia to get out before she called the police. Olivia started crying, saying she had nowhere to go. All her stuff was gone. She couldn't even go to work because I donated her uniforms, too. My dad, who's always been a softie, started to look sympathetic. I shut that down fast. I pulled up Instagram on my TV and showed everyone the posts of her kissing other guys and partying with her ex. My mom's jaw literally dropped. Kayla tried to grab the remote to turn it off, but I held it away from her. Olivia lunged at me trying to get the remote and ended up knocking over my coffee table. The glass top shattered everywhere. That was it. My dad called 911 while my mom and I told them both to get out. They finally left, but not before Olivia screamed that she would ruin me for this. The cops showed up about 20 minutes later. I explained what happened, showed them the broken table and the Instagram posts. They took a report, but said there wasn't much they could do since Olivia was gone. They suggested I get a restraining order. This morning, I woke up to an email from someone at Olivia's workplace. Apparently, she told them I hacked into our joint credit card and stole her flight information, stranding her in Miami during an emergency family visit. They wanted to hear my side before they took this further. I replied with screenshots of her Miami posts showing her partying and kissing other guys along with the credit card statement showing the charges at nightclubs. I explained that it was a joint account and that I had every right to dispute fraudulent charges. Haven't heard back yet. Then I got a text from a mutual friend who said Olivia was telling everyone I'd been physically and financially abusive throughout our relationship and that the Miami trip was her escape plan to get away from me. She's literally trying to flip the whole thing around and make herself the victim. The worst part, I found out from another friend that Olivia had been planning to break up with me after the Miami trip anyway. Apparently, she wanted one last vacation on our shared credit card before ending things. She'd already been looking at apartments with Kayla. The whole girls' trip thing was just a cover so she could party it up with her ex one last time on my dime before dumping me. I don't know what to do next. Her parents are threatening legal action over the donated clothes. She's spreading lies about me to everyone we know, and I'm stuck with thousands in credit card debt from her Miami bender. Is it bad that even after all this, part of me still feels a sick satisfaction knowing she's sleeping on Kayla's couch with none of her designer crap? Because honestly, that's all that's keeping me going right now. Update 2. Thanks for all the support on my last 2 posts. Reading your comments has been one of the few things keeping me sane through all this. So, it's been about 2 weeks since Olivia's Miami trip where she cheated on me and maxed out our joint credit card, and about a week since she showed up at my apartment with her parents and broke my coffee table. Things have escalated in ways I never imagined. First off, I walked into work on Monday and immediately knew something was wrong. People were staring and whispering. My buddy Craig pulled me aside and showed me his phone. Olivia had posted this long Instagram story about how I was emotionally abusive throughout our relationship and how the Miami trip was her planned escape from me. She claimed I monitored her spending and isolated her from friends and all this complete __, that never happened. What's crazy is that some of our mutual friends were actually buying it. People I've known for years were commenting supportive __ on her posts. I was furious but decided not to respond publicly. That would just feed into her victim narrative. That afternoon, my boss called me into his office. Apparently, Olivia had called HR claiming I was unstable and they should be concerned. My boss knows me well enough that he didn't buy it, but still had to follow company protocol and have a talk with me. So embarrassing having to explain my relationship drama to my boss. He was cool about it, but told me to keep my personal life away from work. When I got home that night, there was an envelope taped to my apartment door. Guess what? A formal letter from some lawyer saying I was being sued for conversion of property for donating Olivia's clothes. The letter claimed her stuff was worth over $20,000, including designer items and family heirlooms, and demanded I either return everything or pay the full amount, plus emotional damages. I literally laughed out loud in the hallway. Family heirlooms. The girl owned like 3 Forever 21 dresses and some makeup from Target. The most expensive thing she owned was a pair of AirPods I bought her for Christmas. I called my cousin who's in law school and she said while Olivia might have a case for the value of some items, the emotional damages part was probably BS. She recommended I get a real lawyer though, which is just great. More money I don't have. That night, I couldn't sleep thinking about the credit card debt and now possibly having to pay for her designer clothes. I decided to go through all our old texts and emails to see if there was anything I could use to prove she was lying. That's when I found something weird. Back in February, Olivia had forwarded me an email confirmation for a hotel reservation in Miami for this exact week in May. When I asked about it at the time, she said it was just her friend Kayla checking prices for a possible future trip. I didn't think anything of it then, but now I realized she'd been planning this trip for at least 3 months. I dug deeper into my email and found another weird thing. In March, Olivia had asked me to send her a scan of my driver's license for some insurance paperwork. I never questioned it because why would I? Now I'm thinking she used it to add me as an authorized user on accounts or something shady. The next day I got a call from an unknown number. It was Jason, Olivia's ex-boyfriend, the one whose sister Megan was on the Miami trip. This was the first time we'd ever spoken. He sounded super uncomfortable and said he was only calling because he thought I should know the truth. According to Jason, Olivia had reached out to him back in January saying she wanted to reconnect and clear the air between them. They started texting, which turned into meeting for coffee, which apparently turned into more. He claimed they'd been seeing each other off and on for months while she was still with me. The Miami trip was actually planned by all of them, Olivia, Jason, his sister Megan, and their friends. Olivia told them she was going to break up with me before the trip, but then decided to wait until after because she wanted to enjoy Miami without drama. Jason said he had no idea we shared a credit card or that she was spending my money on the trip. I was skeptical at first. Why would her ex suddenly grow a conscience? But then he sent screenshots of their conversations planning the trip and photos of them together from months ago. It was all true. I'd been completely played. I thanked him for coming clean and asked why he was telling me this now. He said Olivia had been telling everyone I was abusive, and he knew that wasn't true based on things she'd said about me when they were sneaking around. He didn't want to see me get completely screwed over. I guess even her ex has more decency than she does. Later that day, I went to the bank to sort out the credit card situation. Since we had a joint account, I was able to see all the transactions from the past few months. Turns out Olivia had been slowly draining our savings account, too. Small withdrawals of $1 or $200 that I hadn't noticed. Over 3 months, she'd taken almost $4,000. When I asked what the money was for, she always had excuses. Car repairs, helping her mom, work expenses, all lies. The bank rep was sympathetic, but said since we weren't married and both names were on the account, there wasn't much they could do. The money was just gone. Between that and the credit card charges, I'm out almost $11,000. When I got home from the bank, Olivia was waiting outside my building again. This time, she was alone and seemed calmer. She asked if we could talk about resolving this situation like adults. I reluctantly agreed to talk in the lobby where there were witnesses. She started by saying she never meant to hurt me and that things got out of hand in Miami. When I brought up the fact that she'd been planning this for months and seeing her ex behind my back, her whole demeanor changed. She went from fake sweet to ice cold in seconds. She admitted everything. The affair with Jason, planning the trip months in advance, deliberately using our joint credit card because she knew she was breaking up with me anyway, so why not enjoy herself one last time? She said she didn't tell me before the trip because she wanted to avoid a messy scene and figured it would be easier to just end things when she got back. The worst part, she wasn't even sorry. She said I should be grateful. She was planning to break up with me properly instead of just ghosting me. When I pointed out that cheating and maxing out our shared credit card wasn't exactly taking the high road, She just shrugged and said life's too short to be miserable. Then she got to the real reason she wanted to talk. She wanted me to return her things or pay her for them so she would drop the lawsuit. I laughed and told her those things were gone, donated weeks ago. She started yelling that I had no right and that she'd make sure everyone knows what kind of person I really am. I told her to go ahead. I had nothing to hide. That's when she threatened to call my parents and tell them I'd been physically aggressive with her. I pulled out my phone and started recording, asking her to repeat what she just said. She knocked the phone out of my hand and stormed out. My phone screen cracked, but the recording saved. She literally threatened to falsely accuse me of physical abuse on tape. My cousin says this could be really helpful if she tries to pursue legal action. Last night, I was having dinner with my parents to update them on everything. My mom suggested I make a detailed list of all of Olivia's belongings that I donated with approximate values just in case this does go to court. While we were talking, my dad's phone rang. It was Olivia's father. My dad put it on speaker so we could all hear. Olivia's dad was actually apologizing. Apparently, Jason had also reached out to them and told them everything, the affair, the planned trip, all of it. He said they had no idea Olivia had been lying to everyone and that they were disappointed in her behavior. He asked if we could meet to discuss a reasonable resolution without lawyers. We agreed to meet tomorrow. I don't trust any of them at this point, but having her own father admit she was in the wrong feels like a small victory. This morning, I woke up to an email notification that someone had tried to access my bank account overnight. The IP address was from Kayla's neighborhood. Olivia must be getting desperate if she's trying to hack into my accounts now. I'm changing all my passwords and setting up extra security measures, but I'm worried about what else she might try. The fact that she's willing to lie about abuse, drain our bank account, and now potentially commit identity theft shows she has absolutely no boundaries. Oh, and the cherry on top. I just got a certified letter from the court. Olivia is officially suing me for the clothes, emotional distress, and now claiming I deliberately stranded her in a dangerous situation by cancelling her flight. The court date is set for next month. What the actual __ have I gotten myself into? Final update. A lot of you have been messaging me asking what happened with the lawsuit and everything else. So, here's the final chapter in this absolute __ show of a breakup. So, last time I posted, Olivia was suing me for donating her clothes. Her parents wanted to meet to resolve things, and I just found out she'd been draining our savings account for months while planning her Miami getaway with her ex, Jason. Things were already a complete dumpster fire. The meeting with her parents was weird. We met at this Starbucks near my apartment. My dad insisted on coming with me, which I initially thought was unnecessary, but thank God he did. Olivia's parents showed up looking all somber and apologetic at first. Her dad started by saying they were embarrassed by their daughter's behavior and wanted to find a reasonable solution. But about 5 minutes in, I realized it was a setup. Olivia suddenly walked in and sat down like she'd been invited all along. She had this folder with her and started pulling out printed screenshots of text conversations between us, but they were all edited or taken completely out of context. She'd literally cut and pasted parts of different conversations to make it look like I'd said controlling or threatening things. My dad immediately stood up and said we were leaving. But Olivia's mom grabbed my arm and started getting teary-eyed, begging me to just pay for the clothes and they'd make the lawsuit go away. When I pulled my arm back, Olivia snapped a photo with her phone. I realized they were trying to create evidence of me being aggressive. My dad and I just walked out. In the parking lot, we noticed Olivia's friend, Kayla, sitting in a car filming the whole thing. They had this whole plan to provoke me into doing or saying something they could use in court. It was honestly next-level psycho behavior. After that, I decided to stop messing around and got a real lawyer. It cost me $2,000 I didn't have, but it was worth every penny. My lawyer immediately sent a cease and desist letter regarding the false abuse allegations and warned them about their evidence-gathering tactics. Then we did something that changed everything. My lawyer subpoenaed the bank records for our joint account going back 6 months, as well as all Olivia's social media posts from the Miami trip, which she deleted after I called her out, but we had screenshots. We also subpoenaed her text messages with Jason and Kayla. 2 days before our court date, my lawyer got a call from Olivia's lawyer wanting to settle. Turns out, when they saw what we were bringing to court, they knew they were screwed. The bank records showed Olivia making dozens of small withdrawals and transferring money to her private account over months. The text messages between her and Jason proved they'd been planning the trip specifically to spend my money before she dumped me. The best part, there were texts between Olivia and Kayla, literally planning how to make Russell look abusive for the lawsuit. They had been strategizing ways to provoke me and record it. In one text, Olivia literally wrote, "If we can get him to shove me, or even just yell, we've got this in the bag." We settled for her dropping the lawsuit completely and paying me back $8,000 for the credit card charges and stolen savings. My lawyer was a freaking beast. She told Olivia's lawyer that if they didn't agree, we'd not only win in court, but would then sue for defamation based on the false abuse claims Olivia had been spreading. The day after we signed the settlement, Olivia showed up at my apartment again. This time she was crying for real, not the fake tears she'd been using before. She said she'd lost her job because she took too many days off dealing with the Miami situation and court prep. She begged me to take her back, saying she'd made a horrible mistake and Jason had manipulated her. I just laughed and shut the door in her face. Then I texted her the screenshots of her own messages planning to break up with me after the trip. She stood outside screaming for almost 20 minutes before my neighbor called security. That night, she blew up my phone with drunk texts about how she'd always love me and how we were meant to be together. I didn't respond to any of them. The next morning, she texted apologizing for the drunk texts and asking if we could please be adults about this and stay friends. I finally responded with just, "Send me the money you owe by Friday or we're going back to court." She sent it through Venmo that same day with the note, "Hope we're happy now." The aftermath has been messy but manageable. Some mutual friends took her side and think I was too harsh donating her stuff. Whatever. My real friends stuck by me. My parents have been surprisingly cool. Even my dad, who initially thought I should just give Olivia money for the clothes, eventually said he was proud of me for standing my ground. I had to move out of my apartment because the lease was almost up anyway, and I couldn't afford it alone. Found a smaller place with a roommate. It's not ideal, but it works for now while I rebuild my savings. The most satisfying part came last week. I was at this bar with some friends and ran into Jason of all people. I was ready for it to be awkward or hostile, but he actually came over and apologized again. He admitted that Olivia had done similar stuff to him when they dated, spending his money, lying about where she was going, manipulating situations. He said he got sucked back in when she reached out in January, but realized during the Miami trip that she was just using both of us. The cherry on top. He told me Olivia and Kayla had a massive falling out. Apparently, Olivia expected Kayla to lie in court for her, but Kayla backed out when she realized they could get in serious trouble. Now, Olivia is staying with her parents because no one else will room with her, and she's telling everyone that Kayla betrayed her. I'm not going to lie and say I'm completely over everything. I still get angry thinking about how she played me for months, planning this elaborate breakup while draining our accounts. I deleted all my social media for a while because I was sick of seeing mutual friends still hanging out with her like nothing happened. But I'm doing better. The $8,000 she had to pay back helped me clear most of the debt she left me with. I started seeing someone new recently. Nothing serious yet, but it's nice to be reminded that not everyone is a manipulative sociopath. Oh, and one last thing. Remember how Olivia was a mechanic when we met? The whole fixing my car in the rain story that I thought was so special. I found out from Jason that she intentionally messed with people's cars sometimes when she was on call so she could rescue single guys and get their numbers. Apparently, she did the same thing with 2 other guys before me. So, yeah, that's the end of the Olivia saga. 3 years of what I thought was a great relationship, destroyed by her greed and selfishness. But at least I got some revenge. She lost her job, lost her friends, lost her place to live, had to pay me back thousands, and is now living with her parents at 27. And every time she tries to pull the same stunt with a new guy, there will be people who know the real story. Thanks for all the support through this mess. Once loyal. Your advice helped me stand my ground when I was tempted to just give in to make the drama stop. Sometimes revenge isn't about doing something dramatic. It's about not backing down when someone tries to screw you over and making sure they face the consequences of their actions.